I already introduced Jimmy just before we started here. So I like his visualization magician idea and bureaucracy therapist. And I totally can say this is working. Jimmy, stage is yours.
All right. So nice to meet you all. I've been eavesdropping a little bit. And Stefan, thank you so much for inviting me. And I've been looking forward to put together a talk on this very topic because it is something that consumes a lot of my time and thinking. So the power and pains of autonomy. And what do we need to create in the form of leadership and organization in order to unleash and empower this? Who am I? So I'm an Agile coach. I've been Agile coaching for the last 10, 12 years. And currently I'm working with CRE, Doctor in the App. And when I'm not coaching, I'm writing books and I'm used to blog, but now I pour that time and energy into my YouTube channel. So Agile with Jimmy, one episode every week on various Agile topics. But today I want to talk about autonomy and the pains of power. Then many organizations today are doing or have already done this shift, this Agile transformation. I think majority are either debating, discussing whether or not to continue with their current efforts or in the middle of all the work and struggle to pull through the transformation. And there's a few, primarily startups, who've already done this shift. So this slide went viral in my LinkedIn feed a few months ago. So yeah, an Agile transformation is shifting from just debating profit to what are we here for? What's our purpose? It's a journey from hierarchies of decision mandate into a collaborative network of people and teams. It's a journey from controlling others, ensuring, making sure, into empowering, unleashing the power of individuals and teams. From planning and ticking off boxes to formulate our work and our services we create as experimentations we need to falsify or verify. And a journey from privacy, need to know basis information into transparency to enable everyone to make good decisions on a daily basis. And for many companies, the end state or how this manifests itself is an organization with self-directed and self-organizing autonomous teams working towards a shared outcome. However, there might be 50, 100, 200 teams, but we have our North Stars and we are guided by negotiable boundaries. So we're not free to do whatever, and we are working within enabling structures. So I will explore all of these concepts. And these autonomous, brilliant teams, they do reside in an organization. And that organization is what I call a supportive organization. For contrast's sake, let's start with maybe a little bit ranty, black and white, oversimplified, I'm sorry if I upset anyone, version of an organization. So it kind of looks like this in my mind. And I've actually seen there exist a few of these for real. And there we have the C-suite at the top, maybe, the board believing that for us to be successful, we need to be able to make smart decisions and be in control. So how do we do this? Well, we make decisions and set policies. We delegate power through budgets. And we impose deadlines to make sure people stay focused on the right things and to not clutter people's mind and being able to grasp what they're working on. We offer information on a need-to-know basis. And this is a lot of hard work to enforce policies and these things. So we have, by the way, we do the clever thing of staffing the best people on the most important projects. So the best people might be working on several projects, by the way. And in order to coordinate this and make sure everyone follows our policies and so forth, we have a lot of middle management. And to be smart and be in control, we gather reports. We harvest data. We demand clear parts of accountability when things go wrong. And in order for us to be able to comprehend this complex entity of people and organization, we demand standardization, that people work in the same way with the same processes and use the same exact reporting templates, because otherwise we can't comprehend it. All right, a little bit ranty, black and white. But this kind of approach to work and life tends to result in a lot of waste. So this is almost like a waste factory. We have a lot of handoffs, multitasking, fragmented ownership, long feedback cycles, a focus on resource optimization, and so forth. So furthermore, we don't only suffer from these symptoms or problems to tackle. Today, as you might be familiar with or heard before, we live in a VUCA world. And it's volatile. There's going to be surprises, new competitors, new roles we need to adhere to. Pandemic, we didn't see that one coming. We're going to have to act without being certain of the outcome. And it's complex. It can be hard to understand cause and effect, the symptoms and root cause. And we can interpret what we see, the data, in so many different ways. So yeah, it requires us to be super brilliant and smart together and move really fast and learn fast to cope with this world. Furthermore, General Stanley McChrystal summarized this very nicely. How should we approach work? And he argues that effective adaptation to emerging threats and opportunities requires the disciplined practice of empowered execution. So I guess that's his non-agile way of describing autonomous teams working within some kind of disciplinary constraints. And individuals and teams close to the problem, armed with unprecedented levels of insights from across the network, offer the best ability to decide and act decisively. There's so much powerful things going on in this one. So yeah, people and teams close to the problem, close to the customer, that can truly interpret and understand the data and feedback that they get. They are the ones that should be calling the shots. But decentralizing control, decision mandate, requires both the authority to make decisions and the information to make them correctly. So just telling teams that you're now autonomous, do wonders, good luck, bye-bye, that's pretty unfair. That's setting people and teams up for failure, actually. So let's look at how a supportive agile organization looks like instead, that do support these autonomous teams with decision mandate. So here we have at the core on everything, we have the team, and everything else is built and designed in order to support them. They are cross-functional, self-organizing, 100%, meaning that you're a member of one team and one team only. They're stable over some reasonable period of time, autonomous, and it's up to them to figure out how to work efficiently together and how to improve their quality over time. Let's look at this autonomous thing. Pops up all the time. What does it mean? Does it mean do whatever you want? It's up to you? No, it doesn't mean do whatever, because that, as my former Agile coach colleague at Spotify said, autonomy doesn't mean the freedom to do what you feel like. That's devoid of meaning and shared identity, psychologically shallow, probably leads to depression, doesn't offer anything for us to unite around, a reason to go to work. So, okay, so if that's not the case, what could it mean? Well, this is my attempt of defining autonomy for an agile team. So this is the way I see it. Working in an autonomous team mean that you're feeling free to act, or you are free to act, with all your capabilities to contribute towards a collective outcome. You think, decide, and plan together as a team within your boundaries. You work and learn together. You choose how to conduct work, how to improve, and are part of shaping your destiny. So how does an organization, a supportive agile organization, look like then? Well, the C-suite, the board, they have a different belief on the path to success. For the teams to succeed, not for us to be successful, for the teams to succeed, they need us to provide clear guidance and support. And how do we do that? Well, we do this by offering clear visions and priorities, North Star, company bets, the clear priorities. What is most important? Just presenting a list of 100 musts doesn't help anyone. These are the top 5 things we as a company need to address, the problems we need to solve. We offer information and context, transparency, so that teams and individuals can make smart, responsible decisions on a daily basis. And we do offer true empowerment. We trust the teams to make decisions, to put themselves in their driving seat, but we also offer some clarity on boundaries, to what degree the decision mandate and ownership extend, and where do they need to start to negotiate with others. Furthermore, the middle managers, which I now refer to as close active servant leaders, they are here to meet up the teams when they need to. So the teams, even though they're autonomous, they're going to request for support and guidance. They might have built something, showed a demo. They want feedback and guidance on how to prioritize their future steps or their next step, their next goals. Even though they are expected to address their own problems, there will be impediments beyond their control. So that's where Leadership steps up and helps them with support, and that could be training, new hires, tool, licenses. And also, they help the teams to establish a direct dialogue with other teams, partners, stakeholders, and whatnot, so that they can have a good conversation. Furthermore, close active servant leaders, they are close. They don't sit on a separate floor. No, they work closely together with the team. So we have the product owners, the chapter lead, the engineering managers, agile coaches, scrum masters, and so forth. And the people on top, they don't typically refer to them as, think of themselves as people on top. No, they're just another kind of team offering a different set of services in terms of guidance and priorities. Furthermore, to really unleash this autonomous team, they need to have a direct line of sight with their users, their customers, and being able to ship and deliver their product and services directly. Because it's only then that we can have true, good, fast, rapid feedback loops that will help them figure out how can we improve our quality, how can we move the needle, how can we have a bigger impact. All right, so what are the promised benefits and powers of autonomy? Well, study after study has shown that motivation probably has a larger effect on productivity and quality than any other factor, well, according to Steve McConnell. So what do seem to motivate people? And I subscribe to the things that Daniel H. Pink argues for in his book, Drive, that we are, as humans, we are not motivated by the yearly salary review. Best case scenario, we're not pissed off. What we are motivated by are autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Our ability to have an impact on the work we do and how we do it and who we work with, autonomy, a chance to practice and get better at what I want to get better at, and purpose, feel that the work I'm doing is connected to something bigger, has meaning. And it's just not the task list, but we're doing it because of something. And when we organize ourselves as autonomous teams, well, we're providing all of these things. But maybe even simpler stated, great people will do great things when being trusted to be great. Just take a leap of faith and invite them to be great. Because autonomy means owning it. So you can go as a team saying, oh, brilliant, we are now autonomous, it's up to us. But that actually comes with a lot of hard work, which is very rewarding. But yeah, it doesn't come for free. So it means leveling up in terms of zooming out and assuming a bigger responsibility. But imagine a world where we have our autonomous teams. We as a team, together with our product owner and scrum master and close active servant leadership, we together, we feel that we are shaping our destiny. We are crafting a roadmap, asking for feedback on it, of course. And we do this successfully because we have a deep and good understanding of the overarching priorities, how we fit into the bigger picture. We have access to data and context information so we can make smarter, responsible decisions. And we also know to which extent our mandate extends and when we need to negotiate or collaborate or maybe sometimes even seek approval from others. Can you show the waste slide one more time? Of course. And we have the tooling, the plumbing, access to our users and metrics and data so that we have good feedback loops. Because imagine a world where this is truly true. Then we will see the promised benefits, which are that we have really, truly mobilized brain power. We have faster and better decision-making. We have continuous learning and adaptation built into our processes and work. It's a way of working that promotes ownership and willingness and enablement to take on responsibility, hopefully achieving higher quality and higher productivity and efficiency. Furthermore, it should allow for and invite for more innovation. It should enable us to faster response to market changes. The majority of people find, as I mentioned, autonomy, mastery, and purpose being the truly motivational. So we're going to see higher employee satisfaction surveys going up and so forth. And one other promise is that it's going to be easier to attract talents from the outside. But this also comes with challenges. So if this traditional way of working comes with a bag of problems we need to deal with, because this way of working kind of invites or sometimes even promotes counterproductive behavior such as resource optimization or upfront planning, because we have a scarcity of experts that needs to be a part of many different projects. When we work in an autonomous way, we have a new set of challenges because, surprise, the journey many companies are on towards this beautiful agile future with autonomous teams, it comes with a new bag of problems and challenges. It's a different kind. It's more fun to work with them. First, number one, finding the balance is super tricky. So if we have too much freedom to do whatever, well, we're going to end up in chaos. If we have too much bureaucracy, well, we're going to have another sound. So too little constraints or too little guidance or too little standardization or too little boundaries, it's going to create stress, havoc, is a mess of processes or architecture, and we're going to run in different directions. On the other hand, if we try to tighten it up with too much bureaucracy, too much help, or too much boundaries and constraints, it's going to feel like a wet blanket, dampening initiatives, motivation, willingness to try things or propose things. So this is going to be a never-ending work of finding the balance. Do we tweak it or do we reorg? Do we add or remove a role? Do we simplify a process or do we add one? And hopefully that balance is being agile. But on the left-hand side, there are some benefits and good things about too little structure. It gives us the freedom to figure out where and how I, as an individual, can contribute the most. When something urgent pops up, it's easy to rally around these short-term goals. It allows for structure to emerge when needed and then be dissolved. And hopefully, if I have total freedom, well, hopefully that's going to make me work on the most passionate things. However, too little structure comes with a lot of problems as well. Never-ending discussions due to lack of decision-making principles, several competing hidden hierarchies of informal leaders in the absence of formal ones. It's lack of purpose. It's always up to me. I have to figure out what to do. It's easy to hide. You might be forced to hope and assume, have visual thinking that someone is working on problem X. I am not. I hope someone else is. It might be impossible to get a sense of progress and capacity. So too much autonomy or too little structures and boundaries can lead to a whole set of other problems. But even if we get this right, we're going to always have a set of challenges that we need to continuously work with. So, for example, we're going to have a growing challenge of co-located teams and remote teams. How do we conduct good, efficient decision-making on topics that span several teams? How do we resolve conflicts and disagreement if there's no central boss that runs the show? How about team stability? How do we work with clarity on boundaries and ownership? When the storm hits us, how do we deal with this spontaneous command and control reflexes? How well can we care for them? And so forth. There's a lot of more here. I don't have silver bullet to reply to this. This is a new set of challenges that an agile organization with autonomous teams have to figure out and continue to deal with. One recipe for that is to spend a lot of energy on alignment, but also clarifying negotiable boundaries and constraints. So what do I need with this? Well, we as a team, we can't just put on blindfolds and do our thing and run our show. No, we are part of an ecosystem. Together as a company, all the teams together, we are striving towards a shared outcome or maybe several North Stars. Okay, so we need to figure out how to contribute to that. We need to collaborate with other teams who are depending on us or we are depending on for coordination or knowledge and whatnot. We might have legal constraints that we can't dishonor or break. Once in a while, there will be dates beyond our control that we need to prioritize after. There will be behaviors that are more appreciated than others. So we are part of an ecosystem. To make us play nice together, one super important tool is to clarify and negotiate boundaries and constraints. You could call this bureaucracy, but I prefer to think of them as tools for alignment, clarification of ownership, and decision mandate. And they help us to not sub-optimize or to sabotage for each other or our business. These boundaries and constraints comes in so many shapes. I can't run off and do whatever we want. No, we have company objectives. We might have communicated the roadmap that others expect us to follow. We might have cadences, rhythm, meetings in our company, monthly budgeting, reviews, and whatnot that we need to jack into. Legal and compliance and traceability things. And we can't spend as much as we want. There are probably constraints on that. We might have agreed to have a limited set of supported tools. You're not free to do whatever technology you want. GDPR, we might be forced to be on Slack. We can be on other channels, but we have to be on Slack and so forth. So there are a bunch of constraints. The important thing is that the teams are engaged in defining this and that they all are negotiable, because rigid constraints have a tendency of falling brittly or being ignored. Some are recommended. It's good if you do this. Some are law. You have to. You can't shoot them. So following GDPR, recommended might be daily stand-ups. But if you're mob programming, you don't really need it, right? And others are guiding, optional. Many teams do this and find it useful, so maybe you should try it. I've been spending many years at Spotify, and this is kind of how they view boundaries constraints. So a team, they're on a long-term mission to improve search or make the Spotify integration into cars brilliant or whatever. So they can't shoot off and do something completely different. And each quarter, they are expected to communicate their ambitions for the upcoming 3 months in the shape of OKRs. So fine, but they are part of shaping these things and defining them. But sure, this is some limit to their autonomy. Furthermore, they can't use whatever development language they want. No, you should use Python, Java, C++. You have to be on Jira and commit code to GitHub. If you're not doing retrospectives or daily stand-ups or have a visual board that you gather around or have your self-defined key success metrics, well, someone is going to ask you why and probably demand that you start doing these things. And as Spotify's chief architect said, on a scale from Darth Vader to Baloo, we're not really Darth Vader. So if anything, we're closer to Baloo, but not totally Baloo. So there you go. But it's important to spend time clarifying this, because if a team has an unclear understanding themselves of what others expect from them, their own decision mandate, which features or components or systems they own or which boundaries to their autonomy they have, we tend to assume our sphere of influence is smaller. And this is going to result in things falling between the cracks. We're going to be upset on each other. Well, I thought you would. Well, we thought you would. So it's important to have a clear understanding of this, because if we do, that's when we blossom. That's when we kind of, really embrace the full extent of our responsibility. So how do we make this work? It puts extra expectations on the team, but also on the leadership and organization. So instead of micromanaging work and people, we need to focus on the system as leadership. So we need to figure out a way to go from reporting structures to a supporting structure. Not a structure that is designed for figuring out how to tell teams and people what to do. No, a structure that is designed to support people in their autonomy, in their work, in their efforts. Because in reality, we're not a matrix organization, or it might look like that when we paint it on a piece of paper. In my opinion, the true nature of organization is a network of people and teams collaborating, helping out, being pissed off on dependencies, teaching each other, pairing beyond borders. So the job of the leadership in an organization is to build an organization which allows and enables teams to self-coordinate between each other, create forums for knowledge sharing and alignment, so that to maximize the mobilized brain power we do have in our autonomous teams. Because autonomy means owning it, and that's a lot of work. So if we're truly autonomous teams, that means it's up to us. We have 40 hours a week. How do we spend that time? We will never have time to do everything we want. We need to figure out what, if anything, we can do to contribute to company objectives and business targets. We have our own backlog with our own ideas we want to execute on. We have incidents and in production. We have other teams requesting helps. We have bugs being filed. We have insights from market analysis and user research, and we might have do some A/B testing experiments. We want to work with our technical depth and future proofing, and then we have all these recurring meetings. We as a team need to figure out how to balance all of this, because we will never be able to do it all. And to do this, we're going to need guidance and support and help to prioritize. So it's hard work, but very rewarding. But having clear company objectives and clear priorities communicated is not enough. So even if we do agree that we need to cross the river, unless we have frequent and regular communication and transparency and giving each other feedback, we might, solve things the wrong way anyway. So just alignment is not enough. Because when we are autonomous, everyone is doing our best. But in order to make this work, each team need to declare their intentions, need to communicate their future plans, their roadmaps, ask for feedback, ask others to challenge them, and offer transparency on progress. Because that's when we can have kind of a ballet of teams dancing together, or an orchestra. So people checking in, can we do this? Yeah, go ahead. Oh, damn it. All right, cool. So we're striving towards a common goal. Great. Oh, damn it. We're on the collision course solving the same problem. Thanks. Problem diverted. Oh, by the way, everyone, we want to let you know we were doing this. Oh, damn it. We have a couple of dependencies that we need to collaborate on. Cool. So the organization needs to provide platforms and forums to enable these conversations to happen. Because as a team, We need to get to know our stakeholders, build partnership with them and other teams, and offer transparency. What data and insights are we basing our decisions on? How is it going for us? What's our progress and forecast? When do we believe we will be ready to ship this or that? And be transparent with our risks and challenges. And then ask for guidance and seek feedback. Invite others to challenge your plans, your roadmaps. Is it good enough? Can it be improved? Can it be challenged? When does a developer get time to write some code? I saw in the chat. Well, tough luck. You as a team, you need to figure out what is our capacity. We can't just attend meetings all the time. We need to figure out what's most important and what work do we conduct now, do now, and what don't we do? What maybe we do later. And this is hard work. That's the cost. It's like the phrase, be careful what you ask for, you might get it. So to support enablers, we need a leadership shift. So beautifully phrased by Crystal. The temptation to lead as a chess master, controlling each move of the organization, must give way to an approach as a gardener, enabling rather than directing. But a gardening approach to leadership is anything but passive. The leader acts as an eyes-on, hands-off enabler who creates and maintains an ecosystem in which the organization operates. As a gardener, I can't yell at the cucumber to grow, right? No, I need to care for its shade, I need to water it, I need to remove bad insects and whatnot. So I need to care for the system. What does that mean? Well, it could mean offer clear boundaries and also convey that the team has a clearly specified authority to manage their own process. They are expected to figure out how to work efficiently together. But we do offer resources and support and competent coaching and facilitation and teaching when the teams ask for it. And in many organizations going through a transformation like this, they have learned to lead by being an expert, a driver, a manager, and so forth. We also need to expand our toolbox now to be a good coach, a facilitator, an advisor, a mentor, a negotiator, a catalyst, a visionary. We need to expand our toolbox. And probably more times the skill sets on the right more often than we do the left. We shouldn't stop doing these things, but it's more of that to the right. And default to trust. This is a mental decision to make. Do I choose to trust the teams and people I've partially been responsible for hiring? So, because it's easy. If I trust people, I can endorse and improve them. Oh, great, brilliant. How can I support you? If I don't trust people, then I'm going to say, oh, well, can you submit the request? And then we'll review it and then we'll push it through this process. And maybe we'll get back to you in a month. And by that time, you're hopefully forgotten about your weird idea. No. Default to trust, endorse and improve. And also default to open, transparency. This is a photo from Spotify where they record and share everything. One example of default to open is that this is Daniel Ek. When I was working at Spotify, I can go in and look at his schedule. I can see which meeting he attended. So they have open schedules for everyone. When they did have strategy days where they discussed the future and priorities and whatnot and make important decisions, everything was recorded. It was broadcasted live and recorded. And that meant that everyone, every single person, the engineer, the engineering manager, the receptionist, whoever had the same access to strategies, decisions, information as that data as the CTO or CEO. And then it's about creating enabling structures. Because if we do have autonomous teams, an organization like that is optimized for highly efficient teams. But if that's all we optimize for, we will have teams inventing the wheel over and over. We will have isolated knowledge. We have fragmented infrastructure improvement efforts. We might have misalignment in long-term strategies and duplication of works. If this is all we optimize for, we're going to have a new bag of problems. So as leaders and leadership in an organization, we need to work with enabling structures. And that can be, for example, recurring meetings that enables team to self-organize, to resolve dependencies on their own, coordinate priorities, negotiate priorities, for knowledge sharing, technical platforms and tooling for easy access to data and information, easy to find documentation, tooling or services that provides consumer insights and monitoring of production so that they can act on things go wrong. The organization needs to be able to communicate and explain clearly the priorities and why these are the overarching company priorities. In order to make smart decisions, the team also needs to understand the business model. How do we make money? Or what pays my bill, my paycheck? And what do others expect from the teams? And forums that enable cross-team negotiation of priorities, ownership and mandate. Who owns what? Who has the authority to decide on what? And finally, mechanisms, routines, so that we as a team, we know where to turn to when we need support, when we need guidance, feedback, we need help with facilitation, or we need that skills that we don't have in our team, that expertise beyond our team. And I want to end with a few examples of these enabling structures. Town halls, this is pretty common. That's where the leadership of the department or the company, they share information. Kry, where I work now, they have this every week. So they start off with an R&D town hall, that's every week. And every second week, there's also a company-wide town hall with the sharing of important information and news to make sure everyone is on track of the vision, progress, priorities. And followed by a Q&A, 20, 30 minutes Q&A, where anyone can ask everything. And they do. And the leadership on stage, they try to answer as honestly as they possibly can. So this is sharing of information, kind of top down, if you like to phrase it like that. I've seen tribe gatherings. It's where everyone gathers in the department, or it was called tribes at Spotify. Anyone can submit topics, things they want to show, express, explain. And so it was crowdsourced. So everyone got a few minutes to share and talk. And then they simply presented. Demos, giving teams platforms to show and tell, to share their progress, to give them an opportunity to receive applause, but also to enable others to offer them feedback. What did they like? What proposals do they have for the future? Big room planning, not necessarily the safe way, but you can have the same idea. So when teams are about to set out new goals for the quarter, have them do that in the same room at the same time, so that they can, in the moment when it happens, negotiate and discuss priorities. Who needs to help out? This is also self-organizing, crowdsourced alignment of goals and priorities. Can be used on an OKR level for the quarter. And at Spotify, where I worked, we also made the OKRs into a living thing. So we met every second week in front of this board, where we did a follow-up. How are we doing? Will we reach our goals for this quarter? And if our confidence decreased from confident to concerned, or even won't happen, that triggered great conversation, and we helped each other unblock. So we didn't proceed until that team struggling have been connected with someone who can help them. And the leadership of the tribe were always attended this, because they learned that this is where they can shine. This is where they really can support and help the teams. Team updates, a great way for people to communicate intent and get feedback. So it's a team-driven monthly, for example, session where they share their narrative, their progress, their roadmaps, what they're going to do next, their achievements, how the needles have moved on their key success metrics. And then they invite the team for questions and to give them feedback. And it's also an opportunity for the team to clearly state their needs. What do they need from others, from leadership, from the organization in order to be successful? Sometimes they might ask for guidance. In the upcoming weeks, we need to make a choice. We will decide on what we choose, but we would truly appreciate your input and guidance. Teams tend to do team retrospectives. I've seen many great successful learning experience when the whole department gathers for a cross-team, cross-department retrospectives. Self-organized cross-teaching, so lunch and learn. So Spotify had this, and I've seen it in other places. Sorry for making so many references to Spotify. I spent too much time there. But they had a system. You just booked the room. If you had something to share or present or takeaways from a conference you wanted everyone to hear, you booked the room, you ordered lunch for everyone, and then people came and you did your presentation and you had those discussions. Open space on conferences. I've seen plenty of those in many companies. So you book a full day and then you build the agenda together on the day. Guilds, sometimes known as community of practices, can be used as a really strong platform, not only for knowledge sharing, but that community, that group of people can be given the mandate to establish best practices, create tutorials and guides for others to use. And maybe there is an RFC process, and if it is, I don't know, this is the backend guild. If it's backend related architectural questions, maybe the guild has the mandate to decide together on problems or options. Dependency board weekly meeting, representatives from each team gathered on a weekly basis, and here they put up things that blockers from other teams. And so, yeah, we're probably going to be waiting for you unless you do something, or we're currently having a dependency to this team. And then we had the kind of speed dating in dependency resolution. So we made sure that everyone got some kind of help to progress in their need before moving forward. I think this is the last example. You can have the manager figure out who goes into which team, or you invite the people to figure out together how do we best combine ourselves into new teams, team self-selection. Oh, and now one more week, hack weeks. Self-organized innovation. So we can have hack days or even hack weeks. To summarize, in order to have self-directed and self-organized autonomous teams, they need to be helped to get the toolings or be offered context so that they work towards a shared outcome, guided by negotiable boundaries within enabling structures. And this will hopefully enable great people so that great people will do great things when being trusted to be great. Deep breath. Final slide. I'm done. Thank you all. That was it.
Great, Jimmy.
Thank you.
That was fun. I have a few questions for you.
Brilliant. Let me hear it.
Okay, so you already answered the question. Can you show the waste slide one more time? Bree is asked, I'm interested in the tool you use to create the presentation.
I get many questions like that. It's called OBS Studio and it's free. So I'm currently not streaming my webcam, but I'm streaming from OBS Studio. So OBS Studio creates a virtual webcam. And it allows me to create layers with different input. So on this slide, for example, we have a background, which is actually animated, slowly animated. And then part of my screen pops up here, and then the camera feed input pops up here. And I also bought myself this, can I show it? Stream Deck. With the press of a button, I can quickly alternate between these different things. Without having to move my mouse. So yeah, thank you for asking.
Fancy.
when I present this very black and white ranty version, they are embarrassed to recognize some aspects of it themselves. And also, if I spend time discussing these things, every place we all work in today, which is highly depending on us being smart. It's not about our success doesn't depend on the speed of our processors, or no, it depends on our ability to comprehend the world and make fast decisions. And then I think that if you spend time on this and explain the idea of intent-based leadership and the belief of, for us to be successful and being able to react fast, we need to push down authority to make decisions to the people close to the problem. And a very common practice today is we have it. We can do the Scrum team and then expand on their starting point of mandate and decision power. But then they're going to ask, how do we ensure this, or how do we make sure that? What's our role in this? Many times this makes sense, but of course, it's always a journey, because it's, you know, what the destination might look like and what we have today, but how do we get to that point? That's the journey. What do we do with this process, or what do we do with this role? Or so there's this big cloud in the middle. And as an Agile coach and in transformation, a lot of your job is to help people muster the courage to go through that fog step by step, and until it clears and they see a path forward. And that's going to vary for all companies. And also emphasizing that all your concerns are valid. Of course, we need to make sure this and that. And of course, these problems and questions needs to be addressed. But let's figure out a way to move away from having a hierarchy of managers and just have to go high enough in order to find someone with that mandate. Can we create forums or platforms where the people involved can gather and make that decision together?
Okay, we have 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left. I have another question. Niall wants to know, when does a developer get time to write some code, Smiley?
Yeah. No, it is a trick, as I mentioned, that is hard work. So if you, as I said, be careful what you wish for, you might get it. Because a truly autonomous team that is in the driving seat, it's up to them to make an impact. That means also they have to figure out as a team, how do we balance our week? And what is our capacity? Because we can't attend all meetings. We can't pursue all ideas. We can't fix all bugs. So we need to figure out how to prioritize everything. And that is probably the hardest thing for a team to do. That's why I believe this, if you do the team update thing, where you actually invite others, stakeholders and others teams to help you prioritize, that's kind of sharing the burden. There's 6 of us in the team. We have 40 hours a week, and the month is 4 weeks long. And currently, this is the way we're planning our future. So our ambitions for this month are these things. So here's our top backlog. We realized that we will not be able to help you, and we have to prioritize that. Is this okay with you? Or if not, what advice do you have to us? What should we remove instead in order to help you? I think the team update session is a great way to invite others to help you prioritize. And if something goes in, something else must go out.
Okay, finally, 3 minutes left. Xenia asked, it is great to have such transparency and enable everyone to have access to all meetings. What about need-to-know principle? Probably would be difficult to make happen in a large banking organization.
Of course, I guess as a bank, you have to be have secure and reliable systems and processes not to reveal people's bank accounts and so forth. And you need to honor GDPR. If you're working and building medtech systems, you have patient information. So of course, there are going to be limitations to transparency. But when it comes to access to decisions, strategies, priorities, what other teams are working on, their forecasts, their priorities, there's so much you can have transparency on. Of course, having this vast transparency might be confusing as well. So one job that you as a team has to do is to figure out, of all the information we do have access to, which is relevant for us in order to make smart decisions. to have someone else decide which information we need, it's a super risky strategy, because I can't possibly know which other people and teams would value and appreciate me being transparent or this and that. You can't opt in on things you don't know about. I can opt out, but I can't opt in on information I don't know exists. But it leaves you with not yet one other job as an autonomous team to figure out, of all the things we can keep track on, what do we have to keep track on?
Jimmy, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Stefan, for inviting me in. Thank you, everyone. Have a continued great conference.
Thank you very much, Jimmy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.